of our lives. So in talking with people, you talk about going green. Do people ever mention what they are doing in their own lives to go green?
Sure. Well, this is Minnesota, so we all recycle, right?
Oh, yeah.
Which is a great part of it. But also, like I had mentioned before, winterizing and weatherizing our homes properly is a great way to be green. It cuts down on our energy costs as a state. It cuts down on our individual costs here, and it also helps us to be a little bit more environmentally sustainable. Mass transit is a great way for us to go green. It allows folks to get to places where they want to work, where they want to shop, where they want to play, but sort of lessens the wear and tear on our roads, which is wonderful as well.
How has the government encouraged people to go green in terms of tax credits or whatever?
Sure. Well, there've been some great tax credits put forward. In fact, there was one for new home buyers to help weatherize their house that just expired I believe it was this winter. There's also been a lot of money put into shovel-ready projects to go ahead and expand our mass transit systems. We've got high-speed light rails going in across the country. Here we've got the corridor that's being talked about, but also expanding buses, making sure that our buses are not just gas. We've got electrical buses as well.
Okay, at the start of your description, you had mentioned recycling.
Recycling.
Because seems like we have twice as much paper and cardboard and cans as we do actually have trash. So as people have upgraded their homes, new windows and so forth, this is all part of being green, isn't it?
It is. It's part of being green, and it's one of the great things about that. That actually kind of goes into creating green jobs and helping build a sustainable economy. Because not only are we being environmentally conscious in our homes and energy conscious in our homes, by building those products here, we're rebuilding our manufacturing base. So it's not just making sure we're putting up the wind turbines and the solar panels, it's making sure that we're the ones building those. So we've created this economy that's not so tied to the boom bust cycle that we've been in.
Speaking of wind turbines, have you been down to southwestern Minnesota and the Buffalo Ridge?
I have not been to that one. I have been through some wind farms in Iowa.
Okay, yeah, and I think it's great to see those wind turbines with Danish technology, and to see those and knowing that we are doing something about the energy crisis. And, that's good to see. Okay, another subject as we reach out to people. I read from time to time public opinion polls that appear in the paper, or I read about them online, and people are selected. There are so many men, so many women, so many people of color, Protestants, Catholics, income level, and so on. And these public opinion companies can get a group of under 1,000, or maybe even just 500 people, and ask them questions, and then they'll say Minnesotans are thinking thus and so. So, how does Working America contact people? Are you doing public opinion polls, or what are you doing?
No, we actually go out and talk to folks one-on-one at their homes. So we go all across Minnesota. We start with an initial conversation, like I said, one-on-one at their home. We follow that up with a phone call, just making sure that they liked us and that we liked them. And then asking folks to participate in the process. So we'll ask them to take part in surveys. We'll ask them to vote on issues. We'll invite them to write letters to their senators about issues, sign petitions online, and then we'll also follow that up with face-to-face conversations later.
So when you're at the door,
yes,
are people nice?
Always.
Okay.
Yep.
My own experience, even if I get the sense that they don't approve of what I'm there for, they'll still be nice and say, "Thank you. I will take whatever you're handing out," and then they'll close the door. But I've never had anybody yell at me or.
Oh gosh, no. People are very, very nice, and because we're talking to people about issues that affect them, we're talking to people about economic issues. Most people in this state that I have spoken to understand that this is a bread and butter part of life. We've got to bring jobs back into our economy so that we can get going again.
Okay. Now, dividing the year into three parts.
Sure.
The first half of 2010, the summer of 2010, and the fall of 2010. Gearing towards the 2nd of November. Okay. How many people have Working America reached in the first half, and what are the plans for the summer and for the fall?
Sure. Well, so far this year, we've had over 25,000 conversations with people in Minnesota.
25,000?
Over 25,000 conversations.
Wow.
Yeah. And we are focused on, like I said, economic justice issues. So going forward into the summer, we are going to be talking to people about making sure that our legislators, both locally and nationally, make fixing our economy their #1 priority. That just has to happen. As we move forward into the fall and start talking about next year, we want to make sure that locally our legislators know that Minnesotans want them to take a balanced approach when it comes to our budget system.
So do you have a goal in exactly how many people you hope to reach? So if you reach 25,000 by the end of the spring, at the beginning of the summer, do you hope to reach another 25,000 in the summertime, or another 25,000 in the fall, or do you have other numbers in mind?
Yeah, we don't lay out our numbers that way. We really just look at making sure we continue to have those quality conversations.
Okay.
What we do know is that in Minnesota right now, since 2006, we have gathered 250,000 members of Working America. So if that's anything to go by,
quarter of a million.
Quarter of a million, yep, just in Minnesota, and nationally 3.5 million.
So you'd have quite a good finger on the pulse of what people are thinking. I would guess, if you're reaching that large number.
Absolutely. Okay. Yep.
So when you talk to people,
sure.
What two things are on their mind the most?
In Minnesota right now, what's most on people's mind are fixing our economy, ending the jobs crisis, and education. They're very, very concerned about education right now.
Okay, on schools, are they talking about their local K-12 school, or are they talking about the cost of higher ed, or both? Or?
Sure. Well, lately what we've been hearing, we've been talking a lot to people in Anoka, Champlin, Blaine, Woodbury. Lately, people have been talking to us. They're really concerned because they're seeing school closings and class sizes increased. And on top of that, they're concerned because they're losing their quality, experienced educators. They know that one of the best things we can do to get us out of this crisis is to invest in educating our children so that we don't set ourselves up for failure later on.
And then, of course, imagine if you're talking to a 20-year-old at home, he'll say, I really want to be at the University of Minnesota full-time, but I've got to work. I'm taking a couple of courses.
Yeah, tuition comes up sometimes. Also, student loans are a big concern for young adults. Here in Minnesota, we have a tradition of providing quality education, whether it's we're talking K-12 or we're talking through any one of the universities here. And I think people take great pride in that. And there's, you can't put yourself through school like you used to be able to.
Yeah.
My son just graduated from the University of Minnesota with over $40,000 of student loan debt. How are kids going to make a life with that?
Yeah. So I have a hard time imagining that, because I was a little